you're looking for something to resonate to you.
There we are.
All
All right. So today we're here with Bourbon House and Lacey. Is that right?
Yes.
And I'm drawing a blank on your name, Jason. Is that
Yeah.
right? All right.
Good job.
I'm usually bad with names, and I was trying to write off the top of my head. And all right, I'm good at it. So you guys are kind of listed as a new wave of classic rock. You definitely have that, that classic rock sound with the music and everything. And it kind of has that bluesy kind of undertone there to it too.
Yeah.
Is that kind of been your all's sound the whole time, or is that something that's kind of progressed in over the years within your sound?
Yeah, I think if you listen to our EP from 2017, you'll definitely hear, some of that bluesy, old school stuff. That's who we're inspired by. So it's just going to happen.
Yeah, I think on the first album, we did try to show our diversity. So there was only 2 blues rock songs on that album, really, and a variety of other things. But the song that people loved the most was Music in Your Bones, which is probably the most
blues rocky
70s sounding blues rock song.
Yeah.
So we kind of went with that.
Yeah.
I know when
well, go ahead, Hop.
I know when I first listened to y'all, I kind of had I'm a Black Crowes fan. We love the Black Crowes when they come out, and that's what it kind of reminded me of. But then when I explored your stuff, of course, you became your own band.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, we love the Black Crowes too, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was going to say, I like that your vocal style. You have that, you kind of have your own thing, but you kind of have that, like that Bonnie Raitt, those raspier like tones that come out, and it's like it really hits and throws me back to a lot of that stuff growing up and hearing those songs on the radio being played.
Good. I'm glad it does.
Now, I'm the nerd that works all the time, so I haven't listened to near as much as these guys have.
Sure.
But a little bit that I've heard, I looked a little bit at 20 to Life, the video. I had that and Resonate pulled up for which one do we want to play. And the beginning reminds me of My Cousin Vinny, and then it's just this badass Southern rock that it kicks in. So nicely done, guys. It's really cool.
Thank you.
And I say My Cousin Vinny with love because it's one of my
favorites. So the music, I think the music overall on the 4th album is your newest album, and kind of what we're here mainly kind of talk about. But I think, song for song, it's very well rounded. It definitely has a variety of types of songs on it. It's nothing that's, all the songs don't sound alike. That's a good mix of stuff to have, and especially, with today's society, and got to have something fresh and, just on the go all the time.
Absolutely.
But so what was the writing process like on this album versus your previous albums?
You can go for this one.
Well, I think we had a better sense of direction writing this album. We knew what the album was going to need, and we knew how to go about writing it. We had a better sense of self-identity, I think, knowing who we were and what kind of music we needed to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably the difference.
As far as the process has always been the same. It's just me with an acoustic guitar trying to come up with riffs and chords, and Lacey's there writing the lyrics and melody at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're building the song around the riff then?
A lot of times, yeah.
Sometimes
it's built around melody, but most of the time it's around the riff. Yeah. You have to have a good riff for a song. Like that's kind of our main goal is just like to write a good song. And that's why you get such a variety. We don't want to repeat ourselves. We don't want to, have too much sounding the same. We don't want to do that. So having a great riff is very important.
Well, I think a lot of bands, that they kind of get stuck in a rut, and they do, I guess they have their sound and they try to stick with it, and it ends up that a lot of their music ends up sounding the same. And
Yeah.
if you can pull that off, keeping your sound and yet have a good variety, that's a good kind of thing to have on your side, because a lot of bands don't know how to do that and been around for a long time and still just never seem to figure it out.
Right. Or never wanted to. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Or just get lazy. That's we see.
Laziness. Yeah.
I know we grew up in the in the 80s. We were big hair band fans, and a lot of that hair band stuff got that way towards the tail end.
Yeah.
It was not nearly as good as it was at the beginning of that era.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were all copying each other at that point too. So yeah.
Well, it was probably a lot of labels pushing out that stuff and just because they knew it was going to sell, so it didn't matter what it sounded like. They just rushed it out there and get it to the masses. So
exactly.
That was another thing that I liked about y'all. Y'all were a breath of fresh air. It's just something different, but something that was good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Typically for us, we're listening to more of the hair metal stuff, and I'm kind of getting into a lot more of the heavier stuff over the last couple of years, and I still find myself kind of going back and putting it on different stations. I've been listening to outlaw country here lately, and and some of the blues music channels, and so it is nice to get something fresh and different, and even if it's older stuff, it's still nice to have something different to kind of cleanse your mind of what the everyday things that you kind of doing. So
cool.
Yeah, we had a friend tell me, I was telling the guys that she said if you use a pedal, it's metal, so it don't really matter. As long as it's got distortion, it's metal.
Sure.
So on the song "Resonate," that's the opening track. That is a great opening track for the album. It's definitely a high energy song, full of energy. It's just one of those songs that makes you get up and want to dance around and sing and scream out loud and just have a good old time. Tell us a little bit about that song and how you kind of brought it together and made it the opening track.
Well, that's kind of our our ode to all of the bands that inspired us, really. So it's a very Rolling Stonesy, fun, upbeat blues rock song. Really fun to play live. It's one of my favorite ones because of it's the one that makes you want to get up off your seat and dance, like you said.
Yeah. Yep.
Opening, he was the track order guy.
Yeah, I felt like it's the song that would make you want to keep listening to the rest of the album.
Yeah.
So you're album oriented. So when you write, you've already got an idea where you're going to put this song on the album? Because I know some people just worry about releasing singles versus albums.
Well, once we have the songs that are going to be together on an album, they kind of seem to figure out where they need to go. It's like a batting lineup on a scorecard or something. That the first song needs to meet certain requirements, and if you got a kind of a slow ballady song, that one you
obviously can't be first.
It needs to be around 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
You want to finish strong, though. You don't want to have your worst song last. But we tend to put like an experimental song last, or maybe if it's a song we've never, like a new genre that we're exploring or something, or if it's an oddball for whatever reason, we might make it the last song. So there's reasons why the songs are in the order that they're in.
The last song on the fourth album is "Wild Days," and I don't know if you've all listened to it yet, but one reviewer described a section of it as being in a Turkish hookah lounge. So that kind of describes why we chose that one for last.
Okay. I don't think I got the hookah lounge part of it when I listened to it, but hey, everybody hears something different in it. So
yeah.
You put that one in the pitcher spot, right?
Yeah.
And I guess with no DH at all anymore, I mean, with the DH in both leagues, it's now there's no pitcher spot.
Yeah, the pitchers don't hit at all anymore. So.
I guess that's the catcher spot. Oh, I'm a traditionalist, Jason. So I still think there should be a pitcher spot in the lineup. That's a whole different story.
Definitely made things more interesting. Yeah.
Hey, where are you guys from? I'm not seeing that in any of the notes we've gotten. I was just digging around a little bit.
Wisconsin.
Okay, what part?
Central Wisconsin. I'm actually from Canada though, but I'm Canadian.
Gotcha. Well, I'll leave out all my Bob and Doug McKenzie jokes just for the sake of so wanting to do it because Strange Fruit's my favorite.
Well, since you're talking about Wisconsin, I mean, I've just heard, I don't know if you remember the hair band Tough, but I know Ricky, what is it, Rochelle? Anyway, the lead singer, he's from Wisconsin. I know that's not a big music scene up there,
no,
is
it's
it?
really not. No.
No, it's Packers and farming.
Yeah. It's where we live.
Gotcha. But sometimes out and, not having a spectrum of stuff to really, like the big city kind of stuff. It's nice being out. And I mean, I go out my front porch here and I got the mountain right in front of me. So it's nice to have that getaway.
Awesome. Where are you?
Well, we're kind of, I guess, western side of Virginia, kind of along the Skyline Drive kind of runs down through here. And so we got a lot of mountainy hiking trails and that kind of stuff, ski resorts and whatnot. But
I tell people we're in the cool part of Virginia where we're away from the politics, spelled Ticks, blood-sucking parasites, and away from the traffic. So we're in the nice part.
Good.
So,
all right, I guess we'll go back to your videos. We found it interesting talking to some of the bands. Are y'all really hands-on with your videos? Have you been?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're so we have a really great director that we work with every time. But she's very collaborative with us, and even down to like editing. She'll send us some stuff and I'll have some pointers and she'll fix them. So we're very, very hands-on actually.
Cool.
Yeah, it's it's our director Jocelyn and Lacey and me.
Yeah.
And it's between the three of us, basically all executive decisions are made. So
that's cool, then.
Yeah.
That's one of the neatest things in watching some of those, knowing that you guys have that hands-on autonomy, I'll say, and authority versus the old days where the labels controlled it all and it was this tens of thousands of dollars a budget. Just so cool that you can do it and have a platform like YouTube that it can be on, or whatever other platform you want to insert there. But for you guys and be able to do that.
That is the blessing of being on your own label for sure. You get to do whatever you want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed like you have a lot of different locations that each video looks like you've shot it in totally different areas, and to have that option is great. But it's like you just find a lot of these bands, they just kind of looks like they're putting videos out, they're doing a lot of them, but they're all like in the bar scene. It's just like a lot of repetitive type of things. That's what I liked about your all's videos, that it was like a different setting and it was something different going on the whole time, and it wasn't like y'all are just standing there. It's actually you're doing things, and it's like out in the middle of nowhere. And
we try to find a cool location, and also we just want to fit the vibe of the song. So like the High Road Gypsy music video, we went all the way down to Route 66, the closest that we could get to it, which is all the way down in Lebanon, Missouri, and that took us, I don't know, 7 or 8 hour drives.
Yeah, at least.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we go out.
We have fun with it. We try to, making the videos is probably one of the most fun things that.
Yeah, I like it.
That we do. A lot of bands, they shoot a lot of videos, but they're all in the same warehouse. Down the road.
Like a warehouse.
So, we just try to make each one really fun and unique and cinematic and exciting, and it's great that we have a director who is always on board with that and helping us come up with ideas sometimes bigger than the ideas that we had.
Well, I know
go ahead, Hop.
We started out in the video era, and we always enjoyed having the visuals with the song because we were there when kind of when that first started. So
Yeah.
Having videos, I think it's a really cool and important thing, especially with social media.
I agree.
Well, I was going to ask, like, how, because it looked like there was a couple different locations on that High Road Gypsy. Was it mostly
Yeah.
there in Lebanon, or did you actually hit a couple? Because I thought I saw like Uranus was in there, and
Yeah.
there was another little area that I wasn't sure where that was at. But
Yep. Yeah. Basically, that was the Lebanon was the end location where you see like the classic car, which, by the way, someone let us use for free. You know, just like people are so nice. And that Mungermas Hotel is like one of the oldest, you know, places that's still actually operating. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, we kind of went everywhere for that.
I know my wife and I, when we went out to Arizona, we got to get a little bit of Route 66 while we were out there, and it was. I remember seeing a lot of stuff, you know, in TV and whatnot, and being able to actually see those places are still there, and being able to walk up to it and just like look at it, and it was really cool. It's very,
it is cool.
You get a real nostalgic feel when you see all that stuff, and it brought
like,
a lot
I've
of
never
memories.
been here before, but why do I feel nostalgic about it? Yeah, it's cool.
And it kind of brought back a lot of memories, even though I wasn't in the same area as y'all were in, but it did bring back a lot of memories on that trip. So
cool.
That's very cool.
I want to jump in and ask question number 3 that the guys put together, just because, but I want to separate it. So their question is, what are some of your influences? But I'd like to hear it separate. I'd like to hear it from Lacey and from Jason, because you play different roles.
Yeah. So my influences, I grew up listening to a variety of things, but there was a lot of country. So like Patsy Cline was one of the first female singers I think I really loved. Etta James, and then got into Janis Joplin, and Wilson from Heart. Those would be the top female artists for me, but I'm really inspired by Chris Cornell, favorite singer of all time. Terry Reid, Paul Rogers. Yeah.
Here's some useless
big voices.
Some useless trivia for you. Patsy Cline had roots in Elkton, Virginia, which is about 30 minutes from us.
Nice. Very cool.
So useless. So Jason, how about you? I've enjoyed the little bit of what I've heard. You've got a great style.
Yeah, I guess my style probably draws upon Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, and the blues players of the 60s and 70s probably more than anybody else. But I've also learned to play solos by Randy Rhoads and Zakk Wylde and Eddie Van Halen, or at least studied them and tried to play them.
Yeah.
Some of these guys have such a unique style; it's almost impossible to imitate. Hendrix too, but yeah, I've drawn upon dozens of players.
And it's neat to see how it kind of comes along. You might like something. Somebody asked me when I got this blue guitar a couple of weeks ago, they said, so what do you like? I said, well, are you asking what do I play or what do I like? Because those are two very different things.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I can strum. I can do some cowboy chords, and that's about it. But the Randys and the Zacks are some of my favorite. And dear God, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings me up to a point that on the song "Devil on My Heel," you have the acoustic live version at the back end of the album there, and that song was actually on another album. So this is like an acoustic, well, like I said, live acoustic version of that. But I feel that version of it, it did something when I heard the original and then I heard the acoustic version. It kind of brought like I don't know, that it brought that devilish, like sinister kind of feel to it. Like I think it really changed the feel of that song a lot, just hearing the acoustic version of it.
Yeah,
like
that's
the steel guitar really made a difference.
Yeah, I agree. And that's really cool to hear. We've been hearing that from so many people saying that they like the live acoustic version better, which is great because we're all about the human aspect of music and you know, drawing back on production, on overproducing and editing and, you know, pitch correction and stuff. So for that to be a live acoustic version and for people to be like, that's why. It's got to be why. It's the human element that's present there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we spent 5 hours recording the electric version and 5 minutes recording the live version.
There you go.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a spontaneity and
The rawness.
yeah, there's a personality and a soul that's involved with when you first record something,
Mm-hmm.
and then it kind of gets edited out as you
Mm-hmm.
throw out the sketch track and re-record everything and overdub everything, and you pitch correct it and compress it and quantize the drums, and eventually it doesn't sound like people playing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's like a big thing we talk about that too, you know, how that's changed too.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who was talking about they had no pitch correction in whatever they was recording here lately. And that's like, you know, even with Ozzy Osbourne stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff's
The new
correct.
album is
Yeah.
very, very polished.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a question about the 20 to Life video there at the jail scene. I love the whole video because it shows the progression of you going to court and getting sentenced and going to jail there. But in that
And
jail
apparently
scene,
just going crazy.
yeah. So the jail scene, where was that location at?
So that was actually all in one location.
Okay.
And not far from where we are right now. It only took us like an hour, I think. Durand?
Well, it
Is
took
that-
about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours to get there. But Durand, Wisconsin,
Yeah, it's in Durand.
on the other side of Eau Claire, in between Eau Claire and Minneapolis, there's a museum of a courthouse and a jailhouse next to each other.
Yeah.
And
So it's just like an actual old jail cell. They have the sheriff's house beside the courthouse, which is just a museum now, like he said. And then in the back of the sheriff's house is like 2 little cells where he kept his prisoners.
Well, in that scene there where you're kind of going all crazy and whatnot there, I just kept thinking to myself, man, her head is awful close to those little things were hanging out the side of the wall, or I guess that was like a book or something hung up there. But I kept thinking to myself, that was, I guess, my dad instincts kicking in. I was like, man, get off of that. You're gonna hit your head.
Nobody got hurt.
Yeah, that was
That's the point of that video.
Yeah, that's tetanus central there, I believe it looked like. There was a lot of rust going on in there.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully there was not lead paint in there too.
Probably. Probably was.
yeah, there was.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
This is a question we probably should have asked earlier. What is the meaning behind your name and who come up with it? I know a lot of people ask you all that, but it's an interesting name. I like it.
Thanks. It's a restaurant name. That's not why.
Yeah, we didn't know that at the time. Basically, we were just looking for a word that kind of conjured up images of being in an old, swanky blues bar, you know, like a honky tonk. And one of the words that we were kicking around was barrel house. But then we thought, I don't know, it's not cool enough or unique enough or whatever. So we threw in bourbon. And we thought, yeah, like a good drinking bar or something, you know, and I don't know, it just stuck. It seemed to work. And then later on, we learned that there's a famous restaurant called Bourbon House in New Orleans. So
But
they haven't sued us yet.
No.
Oh, that's good.
Is everybody fine with all this?
I think so, because there's actually another restaurant, and I think it's in Salt Lake City, that's also called Bourbon House. So I feel like if they're going to go after somebody first, it's going to be them because they're a restaurant.
Yeah, and some of their customers will go there and eat pecan pie or something and then leave a review on our page.
It hasn't happened in a long time, but yeah, it
telling
happened.
us that we have the best desserts in New Orleans or something.
Yeah.
There's a song idea right there. Pecan pie.
Best pie ever.
That's funny. So I wanted to kind of ask about, you know, being an independent, more of the independent type of band that, no labels and that kind of thing. Financially, that could be, very difficult, especially, a lot of bands starting out. I mean, you've got a little bit of traction underneath of you and you've been going for several years now. So as far as like being independent, you don't have that, label there telling you where to go and what to do. Is it, I mean, I'm sure you enjoy doing, being that independent band. It gives you all those freedoms. Has that been a struggle throughout your career? Has it been fairly easy for you, or how's that been?
Well, it's been easy for us to hold ourselves accountable and to continue going. And like right now, we are going back into the studio to do our 5th album. We're already at that point, and we just put out our 4th. So like we're very good at pushing each other and making sure that we're getting stuff done. So self-managing that way, we've been good. It would be nice to have label money, definitely. To put, because it's basically, it's a business. It's a startup business. We are getting to the point right now where it's feeling less startup and more like it's a thing. So that's cool. But yeah, you gotta throw money into it, and hope you're doing it right. And we've definitely made financial mistakes, for sure. It's a live and learn kind of thing.
Yeah, but if we had a label, the label would be making mistakes too.
Yes, absolutely.
The label is just a bank that distributes music. So they loan you money, sometimes
and it's a
lot.
So.
But today it's easy for bands to distribute their own music. So now it just comes down to how do you get the money, because you don't have a big label loaning you the money. So I guess you got to get it some other way.
Guys, I appreciate that transparency, because that's the piece of these conversations that I enjoy the most. My wife and I work together as well. We're in a totally different industry, but we're the same. We've been in business for ourselves since 2015, and we understand, gosh, it rises and falls on what we do. Yeah. And if we're not doing it all day, every day, and that's why I'm a nerd and don't get to do as much music as I like. If we're not doing it, then is it going to stay afloat? Now, do you guys work with Tom for PR? Is that how Hop and Straight acted?
Yeah.
So, Jason, I sent you a friend request just minutes ago, but I see we've got a mutual friend in Chuck Wetfer, and I was going to ask if you guys knew him, and that answered the question.
Yeah, we've talked to him a few times. Yeah.
Okay. And that's the piece with Chuck and Blacktop Mojo, and even a couple of the other guys that we've talked to through Tom, that I respect so much, is that it's the fact of, hey, we're grinding, and yet the music's cool, and that's what bonds us, right? But the part that's just so impressive is, the LA Maybe. I hear Dallas Dwight talk about here's the work side of it. We're working our tails off, and Matt James, his own YouTube channel, and somebody I saw on Facebook was kind of giving him shit about it. And he's like, guys, the more the better. Blackbird's not going anywhere. It's about how do we keep the wolves at bay and take care of our families through this.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it's important for fans to know how they can support you. If we're not talking about it, then they don't know. Like they don't know what it's. They don't realize that you're putting something out into the world. Your business is being consumed for free, everywhere. So you're putting money into it, but there's not really anything coming back. So, I think it's important for fans to know that, like, they should join your Patreon. They should purchase merch. They should come to your shows, VIP passes. If they want to do that, they should. There's Cameo. We're not on that yet, but that stuff's important. And it's not saying like give us all your money or anything, but like it's important that we have something to come back to us so that we can keep going.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, Bernie didn't win, so we didn't plant the trees that the free shit grows on. We've got to be productive.
There you go.
Just how it works.
Yeah.
What I know with the bands, I always try to buy, like if I buy any merch or CDs, I try to purchase it off their website or something, because they get the big portion. Like if you go on Amazon, they might not be getting none of that, or very small portion.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to go.
So on that note, I'm sorry. On that note, one thing we always ask in that is, how can we? And I'm happy to type it in the comments, share it on the screen. One of the goals that I know String and Hop put together with this, and I try to help too with it, is how do we drive that traffic straight to you?
Yeah.
Because we want you to win. That's why we're having these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've actually kind of started talking about this more when we have been doing these interviews with the bands, that, you know, what is it that, you know, that we can do to help, but also, you know, we try to ask questions about the business side of it, and like, and so that the audience can understand, hey, yeah, like, wow, we, you know, we didn't really understand that. There we found out, you know, that a lot of these venues are starting to charge the bands to sell their merch, like they're taking a portion of the merch sales, and that's preposterous. That's stupid. I mean, and I don't know why they would do that, but well, I know why they would do that, but it's
because everybody has a handout. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But then, you know, on the same side of it, I hear people saying, well, if you're going to take portion of our, you know, merch sales, then you're going to give us part of your, you know, beer sales or alcohol sales or whatever. And honestly, if they want to do it that way, then, you know, why not? Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but there's been a lot of stuff that we kind of have been finding out, and it kind of pisses you off when you hear these things, but it's the sad reality of it all that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
So I've shared a link, and you can see it on the screen. It's going to be in the comments on the YouTube side, and I'll copy it over to Facebook or wherever else this is later. Is this the right link?
Yeah, so that's going to take you to everything for the 4th album. So you'll be able to, there's a link to buy it, and there's a link to download it, go to Spotify, go to whatever. So that's all for the 4th album.
Okay, well, I'll dig a little bit more and try to put one up from your main page too. So you guys can go.
Sure. If you put our website, I mean, the website kind of directs to everywhere, or our link tree. That's probably better.
The Etsy page.
Yeah, but somewhere where there's like all, you know, all the information, all the links. If you do our link tree,
the link tree
that would be the best one.
Yeah, if you browse our Etsy store, you can see all the merchandise that we have available, from CDs to shirts.
And that is our store. Like, we have the inventory in our house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
y'all have pecan pie also?
Yeah. Only the best. It ships weird though, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might not be as fresh as the day it was made, but
String, you want to talk about the Route 66 festival?
So yeah, I saw that you guys are going to be headlining that festival. Like, how did that all come about? And like, to be a headlining on, I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty important gig there.
Yeah. Well, we got that because of the High Road Gypsy music video.
Awesome.
The guy who lent us his car, his name's Carl, and why can't I remember? I think it's Carl's Automotive. God, I can't. Carl's Classic Cars, guilty. I think is what it's called. So he lent us the car. Anyway, his friend came and like just kind of watched us like while we were like filming and stuff. He was just kind of there. His friend is the guy who puts it on, and he asked us to come back and headline that festival. So
that's
awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So is it like a big mix of different types of bands that are going to be there? Is it more the classic or the Blake bluesy kind of rock stuff, or?
So it's like a classic, it'll be like a classic rock. I think that there's a string band as well. There's definitely a few different kinds of bands coming through. I think there's an acoustic, opening or whatever. And it's a classic car show as well. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be very cool to be a part of. Then.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
I guess are y'all planning on playing some of your new stuff? Because you said you plan on working on another album or starting another album.
By that time, maybe. Yeah, because we might actually have a new single out before then. So at least that single.
We don't play things that aren't released yet, but yeah, first single from the 5th album might be out by then.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's the beginning of June. Probably the end of May is when we would have a new single out.
And with the 4th album, you had a lot of those songs were kind of out as singles before that, and then you kind of, I guess, threw out the album then after a couple months after, I guess, after the last we're
we'll be
out there.
doing something similar to that again. So we're,
Okay.
you know, always kind of having something new out there. Show
That
people.
seems like the go-to. I know me and String were talking. We're big Extreme fans, and I know they've already released they've already dropped 3 songs, and their album's not coming out till June also. So
Yeah.
must be the new go-to thing. Bands must be doing that instead of like just one song.
Yeah, it's a smart way to promote the whole album. For sure.
Yeah, because I think there for a little while though that we found a lot of bands, they would put out one song and then you might not hear anything for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then it would be one other song, and then it was like it seemed like it took forever, and it wasn't like they had a whole album that was getting ready to drop. They were actually just doing one song at a time, and then they'd wait till they get 10 songs that were put out, and then they put it together on an album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. It's definitely changed. That's why it was nice to when you was talking about writing a whole album. That was nice to hear that people still do that.
Yeah.
Great where they're going to put their songs and stuff like that.
We even thought of doing a concept album. If you want to go super old school.
Yeah, that would be old school. They're awesome. I mean, writing a concept album, we've talked about that. It's pretty special if you can sit down and write a concept album. Because not everybody can do that.
It's a lot of work put into
I don't know if we can either.
We're not all Roger Waters.
Yeah.
Well,
So
String, you got any?
Well, I was going to ask, like, I know y'all have some shows coming up in Wisconsin within the next couple months. Are y'all planning on trying to get any other shows out there, or mainly just focusing on getting the album wrote and recorded and all that before you look at more shows?
So the album recording is first and foremost, right now, because that's going to be the next thing that we do. But then when the summer comes, we definitely have some more shows. We have we're focusing on kind of bigger, better shows. So we have a lot of festivals going on this summer, and then, we'll think about some kind of tour maybe in the fall or something, but it's got to be good. And good stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask if y'all would like expand out more further out, like East Coast or West Coast, to drop shows to get out there to more. Because I mean, our audience, we have a lot of U.S. based audience too, so that kind of helps. But of course, we have a lot of European and Asian fans and stuff that follow us, and I don't know that you got those types of plans in anytime soon, but
we do
oh,
definitely.
You do?
Yeah, we definitely do. Nothing's like set in motion or anything, but
it's more of a dream at this point.
Yeah, right now, when touring becomes like a better, independent touring is not great right now either.
Yeah.
So, either when we become bigger or that becomes better, we'll definitely take a bigger look at that. But it's something that will happen eventually.
Well, that's good. You got to have those goals like that to keep you driving. So I was kind of curious because Hopper and I, we was talking, we went to see a band last night, and we were talking with the band members, and the whole COVID thing, how did that hit you guys? As far as, were y'all kind of at a good point when that hit and put everything on lockdown, or was it kind of a hard hitter for you guys?
Well, we had a tour planned. That's when we were touring, actually, when it right when it hit. We just came back from playing in Nashville, actually, when that hit. And then in 2021, when things kind of opened up, a little bit kind of opened up, we did a southern tour, which was I would say definitely affected. But we just really focused on, the stuff that we could do, from home, and just writing. We wrote a lot. We recorded. We did a music video during COVID, the Too High to Care music video, actually.
We shot some videos outside,
stuff outside.
Shot one in a garage. We played some shows outside.
Yeah.
We did what we could, and I think that's what every band did. Well, a lot of bands broke up. To be honest, most bands probably broke up, at least in our area. I can only think of 2 other bands that really stuck together, kept practicing, and kept doing things during the pandemic. A lot of them just kind of lost their way, or at least kind of put things on hold.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably what happened all across the continent. A lot of music venues closed. So when
Yeah.
things did sort of open up, they really only opened up maybe a third of the way, and it might not recover from that. You know, a lot of these places closed permanently.
Yeah, that's the saddest thing about it, for sure.
Yeah.
Our area, we don't have a whole lot of. We got a few bars and stuff, and the lockdowns and that type of thing weren't as hardcore here as it was, you know, in some of the bigger areas, bigger cities and whatnot. But you know, fortunately, I think most of the businesses here in our area were able to, you know, stay afloat and figure out things to stay open, and it just worked out. You know, you see a lot of, you know, the restaurants that even had bars or whatever, you know, they relaxed the laws enough to, you know, sell beer out, you know, and take it home, you know, carry out type of thing. So it definitely helped a lot of our businesses survive, but there was a lot of hard hit places that just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, well, for music venues, like, how do you can't do curbside music, you know, you can't, like, there's nothing to sell. So yeah.
Well, so guys, I feel your pain on that, because my wife and I typically do training out with organizations. So it's two of us in our business. And we sent in the last 6 months of 2020, we sent 2 invoices. And kind of hard to eat on that, right? So it's just, dear God, you adapt. But you know, I'm still a little bit angry with politics, all of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
We get it. We know where you're at on that.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a non-music question. Being that you guys are in Wisconsin, talk to me about cheese curds, because we just convenience store chain here locally, and I introduced Hop and String to it a couple weeks ago. Actually, we went to see Blacktop Mojo, and I said, guys, you got to try these. And I'm nuts about them because I've been to Wisconsin a couple times, but they're like,
Yeah,
for me, isn't it?
every place has cheese curds. Yeah.
Are you big fans as I am, or is it not a big deal to you guys?
I like cheese curds. I mean, they're very fatty and fried and stuff, so don't get them very much. But have you had like cheese curds that are not fried, that are fresh from the cheese factory? Because you haven't had that.
No.
And it's like squeaky still. That's what you need to try.
Yeah, you're right. I do. And hey, I'm all about fried and fatty, and it's just there. That's why I do the gym thing as often as I do, so I can do the fried and fatty.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, that's our goal then, Wes. We're going to have to try to find some place that has the non-fried squeaky cheese. So
yes, indeed.
You got to go to a factory.
All right. We might have to travel a little bit then, Wes.
Yeah.
It sounds like a road trip to Wisconsin.
Yes.
They make planes for that.
Well, you know, you can't see the countryside from the plane.
No.
Yeah, I'll see y'all there.
All right, guys. It was a pleasure talking to you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us. I mean, we just like to shoot the bull and talk, and we love to hear stories about music and how the bands do what they do. And so again, thank you for coming and hanging out with us today. And and hopefully we'll get to maybe talk to you again soon when the new album comes out.
We got Little Wings here.
Yep.
Japanese.
Yeah, he's from Japan there, Little Wing. So
Hi.
Oh, hi. Oh, well, thank you. What songs were they? I wonder.
Yeah,
he's actually got us into a lot of the Japanese music, a lot of some Japanese metal bands. There's a lot of all-female bands, and there's all kinds of a mix of stuff. So, and then we found out a lot of cool music because of him and a lot of other Asian fans that are just throwing stuff at us left and right. So it's
cool.
That's kind of why we do all this. It's just, you know, the interaction and finding cool new music to listen to.
This is kind of how you have to find cool music.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, radio's dead. Everything's dead. So
yeah. Well, that's the reason we love the videos, you know, because for us, all three of us, you know, we grew up on MTV. We had the music, you know, we stayed up late so we could catch that brand new video of whoever was coming out.
Chris,
Wes is-
not MTV. MTV when they played videos.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
the old MTV,
Yeah.
yes, not the new, when they actually had music on music television.
Headbangers
Yeah.
But
Ball.
yeah, so it's for us, it's great to see all these bands doing these videos, and it means a lot to us anyway. So I'm glad you guys put so many out, and I can't wait to see the rest. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Thank you.
So Lacey, I've asked him. I sent a comment back on the YouTube where he put the comment up. So we'll probably hear in the feed at some point which two specifically. So we've got. But that's why I called timeout, because I wanted you guys to know that we
Yeah, that's cool.
representation in Japan at least during.
And I really apologize. I didn't notice that this was a live interview. Otherwise,
Yes.
I would have, posted about like, come watch this live.
oh,
So that's why we say, hey, hang on afterward. As we wrap this up, we'll call it done. But hang on just a minute so we can make sure we can get you so you can get you the recording, the compressed version.
Yeah.
So you guys do with it what you want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So anything else, guys?
I guess
that's,
we're good.
that's all I've got.
Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pop metal.